the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. It's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast with Lydell Dinero and Hugo Twilight.
What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of the Best of Bias podcast. It's your boy, Lydell Dinero. What's up? And we getting into some NFL review this week. You know what I mean? Week 3 just passed. You know, we can go over some scores real quick. Get into the little details of some action. Not too much. Just kind of off the top recollection of some stuff that happened this week. We didn't get to review some of our predictions we made when we had an episode with Kev Woods. We reviewed week 1 and made some week 2 predictions. So we didn't get back to y'all to review week 2. So right now, you know what I mean? We're going to get to week 3 and make sure we review that for y'all. Just so, well, not we, it's just me today. I'm sorry, everybody. It's just your boy, Lydell Dinero in the building. To give a quick rapid review of week 3 in the NFL, if that's cool. Probably get into the Buccaneers-Rams game a little more because that kind of personally affected me in some of my Sundays. So hope you guys are ready because it's going to be a quick little sports review episode for my sports addicts out there that ain't heard from me in a while and wanted to hear a little bit of sports between this what if reviews. Double episode review coming. I know you guys have missed it from last week, but we will have a double episode of what if coming next week. So we'll have episodes 7 and 8 together to review with y'all. You know what I'm saying? What if Ultron won and what if Thor was the only child? So we'll get both those reviews to you. But without further ado, we're going to get it right into some of these scores, starting with Thursday's game, Carolina versus Houston. Carolina took business winning 24-9. Everybody knows the deal with Houston right now. They're not really good. They have nothing really going for them. New head coach, Deshaun Watson, in some trouble. So they are struggling, especially with Tyrod Taylor getting hurt last week. They are starting Davis Mills, and they really don't have much going for them. The Panthers, on the other hand, have a pretty good defense. Second year of their new head coach. They have a system, got the quarterback they wanted, some speed receivers. So I think they have something going for them. I know they ain't going to win their division because we in that division, but they're playing good ball right now. Sam Darnold is showing that he just needed to get to a new system, get out of the Jets, and, he's able to ball. And so far, so good. Even though the teams that he's played so far haven't been really good, I think it's been like the Jets, the Broncos, and now the Houston Texans, but they look, serviceable. Everybody thought they're going to be really, really bad. So at least they beaten up on the bad teams they should beat. So that's pretty good to see. So yeah, again, Carolina won that game 24-9. Going to Baltimore and Detroit, which was a crazy game, actually. Everybody thought when Jared Goff went to Detroit, they kind of cast him to the side and he wasn't really going to make noise. But a lot of these games, he's actually putting up big numbers, even though some of it's garbage time. Especially in that Niners game when they're down big, they started to come back. But it was mostly garbage time stuff because they started getting beat and then they actually try to make their way back. This game against Baltimore, he went 22 for 30, 217 yards, but they still ended up losing to Baltimore. Baltimore obviously being the better team. They're missing a lot of pieces due to injury all over the field. Bunch of ACLs, some Achilles injuries. So they're down a bunch of key pieces. So Detroit was able to keep up with them. And it actually took a 66-yard NFL record long field goal to put away the Detroit Lions. So it's looking kind of shaky right now for the Ravens. Their division's pretty lowly right now, even though the Browns are actually looking pretty good, but everybody doesn't have that much faith in Baker right now. So Lamar with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger looking super trash. It's Lamar's division to take, but his team is injured right now. They don't really look too good, and they struggled, and it took a 66-yard, again, NFL record 66 yards that bounced off the middle of the crossbar and went into the net to win. So there's a lot of eyes looking at Lamar, and he's up for a contract. So I wish him the best, and hopefully his team gets healthy for him because he doesn't really have many receivers, and the receivers that he does have, he's dropping the ball. Mark Andrews is the only receivers that really gets work. But yeah, that game was 19-17 in favor of Baltimore. Then we had Washington football team versus Buffalo, which was actually a blowout. It was 43-21 in favor of Buffalo. Josh Allen had a day, 32 for 43, 358 yards and 4 touchdowns. Miles Sanders looked like an all-star out there. Dawson Knox, that was a crazy catch in the corner of the end zone. He was using his legs. He was getting a lot of stuff done. It was crazy. People said he might win MVP this year, and he's showing it. The first game, he looked kind of shaky. He lost to the Steelers, and the Steelers look pretty bad right now. But yeah, man, Josh Allen was looking good. On the other hand, you had Tyler Heineke, who was trying to make the best of what he had, but yeah, their defense wasn't really getting home. Their highly touted defensive line, who was supposed to be the best, the mainstay of their team, the reason why their team actually got wins, wasn't really getting a push on Buffalo at all. They obviously didn't stop from putting up points. And the only receiver that really did anything was Antonio Gibson with a 73-yard touchdown reception out the backfield. So they need to pick it up if they're going to do anything in the division. The Cowboys are actually looking the best in that division right now. Then we have Chicago versus the Browns. The Browns won 26-6. Baker Mayfield had a day. Odell Beckham actually returned his first game back from injury, 5 catches, 77 yards. Bradley Chubb and why do I keep saying Bradley Chubb? That's his cousin. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, of course, did their thing. 84 yards for Nick Chubb, 155 total yards from Kareem Hunt. He had a long touchdown catch, I believe. I think it was a run, maybe a catch. I don't know. I don't really remember. But on the other hand, Chicago Bears had no plan for what they wanted to do with Justin Fields. It really looked either they were sabotaging him or they really had no plan for after Andy Dalton getting hurt. And they have Nick Foles over there too. So it was kind of interesting for them not to install any kind of game plan for Justin Fields. He went 6 for 20, 68 yards with a 41.9 QBR, which was a terrible, terrible, terrible way to start start his career, with his first start. I think this should have been a game where Nick Foles took the reins. The defense is treacherous over there in Cleveland and a bunch of players. So I kind of felt like if they would have gave Nick Foles the start and gave Justin Fields the start next week against the Lions, it would have been a better case scenario for Justin Fields as a starter, but he got sacked 4.5 times by Myles Garrett. I think Jadeveon Clowney had 2 sacks. He was just getting thrown all over the place with no kind of game plan, no kind of plan to succeed. So get better, Matt Nagy. If you don't, you're going to get fired and you're going to try to ruin this quarterback. Don't do that, because Justin Fields was the man in college and he should have went higher. So you getting lucky and drafting Justin Fields, don't ruin this man, because he has a lot to offer and he's a bright future. Next, we have the Colts versus Titans. Titans won 25-6. Yeah, Carson Wentz is just not really doing well right now. He's made out of glass. He broke both his ankles last game and tried to come and play this game. Ended up going 19 for 37, 194 yards, no touchdowns. Hines had the only touchdown. They had 3 field goals. You know what I mean? Their offense is dry right now. They had so much promise coming into this year with the addition of Carson Wentz. The defense was phenomenal. They had a stable of backs, so much so that they're trying to trade Marlon Mack, which is crazy. But yeah, Titans is just coming up and, trying to make amends for last week when they lost. They won 10-Hill went 18 for 27, 197 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but Julio and AJ Brown both had touchdowns. Derrick Henry, of course, had 28 carries for 113 yards, which wasn't really a good average, but he's going to get his at least 100 yards a game so he can get to 2,000 yards. But yeah, they did what they're supposed to do. I'm not really sure what the Colts are doing, but hopefully they figure something out at quarterback, because behind them, I don't think they really have anything. Jacob Eason, I don't think he's really good. But we'll see. Hopefully Carson Wentz can get it together, because man, I wish the best for him. But anyways, Chiefs versus Chargers, really good game. Battle of the young quarterbacks in the same division, man. It's going to be a matchup between them for years. Patrick Mahomes went head-to-head with Justin Herbert. You know what I'm saying? Oregon Ducks own Justin Herbert. You know what I'm saying? Shout that out. But yeah, it was a great game, man. Justin Herbert went 26 for 38, 281 yards, and 4 touchdowns, 132.3 QBR. The last couple of games, man, they should really be 3-0. The last couple of games, their offensive made stupid mistakes to get touchdowns taken away in crucial moments when they could have beat the Cowboys and beat the first team they played. I forgot who they played. It might have been the Broncos for week 1, but illegal shifts by Jared Cook nullified a couple of touchdowns Justin Herbert threw to make the game, put it out of reach. But in this game, it was super close. It was back and forth, field goal, take the lead, this and that. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are turning out to be a great tandem for Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert can just stand in the pocket and sling it to these boys, and they can just route everybody up and get open. Jared Cook, being a veteran tight end, is able to get open as well, and actually able to do some good blocking. Austin Eckler out of the backfield is tearing people up. He had actually a receiving touchdown. Keenan Allen had a touchdown. Mike Williams had 2 touchdowns. So they were going off, man. Their offense is doing work. As long as their defense can hold up, Derwin James stay healthy, Joey Bosa stay healthy. Man, and Kenneth Murray can stay healthy. They have a core, man. They can make some noise, and they obviously already beat the Chiefs once. So if they can beat them twice and just play good the rest of the season, they can possibly win the division and have the Chiefs spending for a wild card. You know what I mean? On the other hand, you had Patrick Mahomes going 27 for 44, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. The interceptions were pretty silly, actually. One of them, he tried to throw a no-look pass across the middle. The tight end wasn't really ready for it. A little bit behind him, went off his hands. It was an interception. And then one of the last plays of the game, he was trying to make a play, overthrew Travis Kelce, and it ended up being an interception to close out the game. But it did look like the Chiefs were going to make a comeback. You know what I mean? Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a redemption game, 17 carries for 100 yards. And of course, Travis Kelce got his 7 catches for 104 yards, making it look really easy. But in the end, the defense was able to hold. It took 2 mistakes from Patrick Mahomes for the Chargers to steal the game. But Justin Herbert got a signature victory, and it looks good on the resume. And he's been looking great all season. I mean, throughout the 3 games, it's just he didn't really have the topping of a win to, show and prove all the stuff that he's done during the game. But he actually got that win this time, and people are looking at him in the highlight. In his second year, man, it's changed the narrative about Oregon quarterbacks, and I really like that. I'm liking that Justin Herbert is the guy to do it, because coming out, everybody doubted him and didn't think he was going to be as good as Trevor Lawrence or as any of the other quarterbacks coming out, and he's showing that he actually is. Even though the system that we ran that year, the last couple of years he was in the system, wasn't to the likings of people from the SEC or people in mainstream media. He had the arm talent. He had the prototypical size. He had the attitude, 4.0 biology student. You know what I mean? He has it, but I'm glad to see him prospering now. Unless he plays the Bucs, then I hope he throws like 4 interceptions and does all that shit. Next, we got New Orleans and the Patriots. The Patriots ended up losing. They had 13. New Orleans had 28. I don't know why I said the score like that, but it's fucking weird. Mac Jones went 30 of 51, 270 yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. A couple of interceptions weren't his fault. One just popped off of Jonnu Smith's hands right into the defender's hands. I don't know how that should happen. But the touchdown actually came from Kendrick Bourne, which was a lot of the 49ers fans out there, especially my cousin John out there. He really liked Kendrick Bourne on the Niners. So he went over to the Patriots and got his first touchdown, you know what I mean? So shout out him. Of course, him and Jacoby Myers were the only 2 really that made some noise on the team. Kendrick Bourne had 96 yards. Jacoby Myers had 94 yards. Surprisingly, Desean Harris only had 14 yards. And I am hearing that James White is out for the season, so it's getting pretty thin in that running back room over there for the Patriots. On the other side, let me see here. What happened with Jameis? He went 13 of 21, 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara had 74 yards rushing. It was a pretty sloppy game, but, the Saints were able to get it done with the rookie quarterback on the other side. We play the Patriots this week at Sunday Night Football. Tom Brady's return to Foxborough, so hopefully they play the same kind of game next week and lay an egg so we can get a redemption win after losing on TV to the Rams. We need that game, for sure. Next, let's just move right along because I don't want to talk too much about the New Orleans Saints. Shout out Jameis, do your thing over there. I wish you the best, but I ain't going to give them too much light. And that's my bias. ATL versus NYC, ain't much to talk about here. Atlanta won 17-14. I didn't really watch this game too much because the score speaks for itself. The teams are trash, really. Matt Ryan went 27 for 36, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. Their top rusher was Cordell Patterson, and that just speaks for itself there. Daniel Jones went 24-35, 266 yards, and no touchdowns. They were passing the ball around a lot over there, though. They got a lot of targets, a lot of mouths to feed, but I hope the Giants get it together, man. I like a lot of players on their offense and their defense, too. They got some strong players. So those teams in NFC East need to get it together. Let's move right along. Let's get Bengals versus Pittsburgh. The Bengals won 24-10. Yeah, Pittsburgh is looking trash. Ben is looking washed, and the offensive line is looking garbage. I have Najee Harris on my fantasy team, like most of you probably do, and he can't even run the ball because they have no holes. All they try to do is throw it deep, which Big Ben just tosses the ball in the air. He gets hit in the mouth because he can't move out of the way. He looks like a grandpa trying to get out of the way of a stampede. Like, say somebody was running at an old person and he tried to make the decision to get out of the way, even though he sees the person coming from 60 miles away. He's moving so slow. You know what I mean? That's how Big Ben looked. He looked straight up washed. If you guys didn't get that analogy, basically he looked washed like a new pair of jeans that you got to wash before you put them on. You feel me? That was bad. Yeah, made Joe Burrow and them look like superstars. Jamar Chase had one super long touchdown, and that's his second long touchdown in 3 games, showing everybody that he got skills. Those drops that he had early in preseason and in the season, that they weren't really nothing. Him and Joe Burrow have that connection, so no matter what, they're going to be able to get on the same page, and that's what we saw. Joe Burrow, let's see what he had. He went 14 of 18, 172 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jamar Chase had 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon had 18 rushes for 90 yards. Big Ben went 38 of 50. I don't know why he's throwing the ball 58 times in the first place. They need to muster up, get some balls, and just run the ball up the middle. You got big-ass Najee Harris that's stiff-arming and trying to spin off everybody to make a play out of nothing because just nothing happened. The play calling's bullshit. I don't really understand what's happening. The defense is kind of not playing well without TJ Watt. He had to be the fire of the defense because now they're playing like ass. Each week, I have the Steelers defense too, and I get 4 points after week 1 getting 18. God damn it. Steelers do better. And Joe Burrow, hey, man, show him why you Showtime Burrow. You know what I'm saying? Smoke those cigars on him. You feel me? Next. Arizona versus the Jaguars. This was an interesting game too, man, because it's supposed to be a game where Arizona clearly wins. The Jags really have no footing in this game. Trevor Lawrence is still getting his feet wet, and that team is still, especially Urban Meyer, is still over there getting his feet wet in the NFL. But Arizona played with him a little bit, and it was nip and tuck. One of the highlights of the game was, I guess, Cliff Kingsbury decided to kick a 60-something, 62-yard field goal, which gave, the Jaguars a chance to receive catch the kick. When you kick a field goal, and if you don't get it long enough and it's still in the field of play, the player can stand back there and catch it and return it. The thing is, when you're kicking a field goal, you got mostly big guys standing up front to try to protect the kicker and stuff. You don't have many skinny, fast guys to go catch these guys that are possibly going to run the ball back to the house. And that's what actually happened. Young Agnew from the Jacksonville Jaguars are standing back there at, just inside the goal line, the back of the end zone, and caught the short field goal and took it back to the house, 109 yards, which was the longest play in NFL history. So there's a lot of history made this weekend, guys. If you don't understand history, go watch the NFL Week 3, and there's a lot of history made. You see 2 special teams historic plays in 1 week that you'll probably never see again. Well, maybe, but probably not, because then we'll have to make it another record. Next, we have Miami versus the Raiders, which was a really good game. The Raiders won in another overtime thriller, 31-28. Derek Carr is putting on an MVP season thus far. I think this is his second game, they said, for him throwing over 400 yards in the game and winning. So he is balling out there for Las Vegas, and I know they're loving it. All the fans being in the stadium for the first time this season, loving Derek Carr right now, loving that receiving core. Henry Ruggs, Braylon Edwards, or is it Brian Edwards? Brian Edwards out of South Carolina, Who else they got? Of course, they got Waller out there getting the ball 672 million times. Shout out Peyton Barber for getting off last week. He actually, how much yards? I think he had like 110 yards, 111 yards, and 23 carries for Peyton Barber and a touchdown. Shout out that guy. But yeah, they are really showing that they can make plays, splashy plays. They have some additions on their defense. Max Crosby's playing crazy. They have Bruce Irvin over there playing crazy. So there's a lot of additions. People are calling Mike Mayock and John Gruden crazy, but it's showing them that they're accumulating pieces to try to make them better and be able to continue in the NFC, especially in the NFC West with the Chargers and the Chiefs in there and the Broncos, who look pretty good right now. So shout out to the Las Vegas Raiders for doing that. The Miami are in a kind of downward spiral right now. They won week 1 and everybody thought they would be good. Tua got hurt, ended up bruising something in his ribs. So he had Jacoby Brissett starting, went 32 of 49, 215 yards. Their top receiver was Gesicki. They have a pretty good receiving core over there too, but they really couldn't get nothing done against the Raiders, which is props to John Gruden's defense over there that he's trying to put together. Who else we got? We got Seattle versus the Vikings. The Vikings lost 30-17. Yeah, Vikings put on a show. Kirk Cousins looking comfortable out there. They got plenty of weapons. Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, they all balled out. Madison, I seen him balling out in replacement of Brandon Cooks. Why am I getting all these names wrong? Dalvin Cook. Shit, it's one of my favorite running backs. How am I forgetting his name? Dalvin Cook, yeah. In replacement of him, he got off and had a day, man. Sometimes if you close your eyes and squint, low enough, you see some shades of Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison. So that's really good for them to be able to be interchangeable in the team's offense, not really lose a beat. But yeah, Kirk Cousins is proving his worth right now. Out there balling out, throwing for some yards and showing that the money that they're paying him, he might not be the best quarterback out there, but he can be consistent with weapons. So once Irv Smith does come back, they might be an unstoppable offense because I know Thielen's going to get a touchdown every game. Justin Jefferson's up and coming. He's going to get a touchdown every game, do the gritty in the end zone. You feel me? But yeah. Let me get to the other games. I'm going to talk about the Bucs and Rams last so I can close it out. But who else played? We had the Cowboys. Actually, let's talk about 49ers and the Packers Sunday night. Man, this game was a heartbreaker for 49ers fans. This was in Santa Clara. The Niners were having a fantastic game. Jimmy Garoppolo was showing his value, showing everybody why he deserved to be their quarterback, why Trey Lance should just sit back there and learn from Jimmy Jizzle. But in Jimmy G fashion, he did have that one turnover that cost them the game. They were pretty far ahead and we're going to actually close, no, actually, that's not what happened because the Packers were actually ahead in this game. My bad, 49ers fans. The Packers were ahead in this game and the 49ers fought their way all the way back. We turned the game off early, actually, because we thought the Packers were just going to close them out. And Jimmy G led that comeback for the Niners to take the lead. But he had that one turnover that gave Green Bay some light. 37 seconds left on the last drive. Jimmy G had his chance to redeem himself after the turnover. He led a drive all the way down the field. Juszczyk scored in the end zone when he probably should have stopped at the one to save some time and just run the clock out so they can kick a field goal and win. But they went into the end zone and left 32 seconds for Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams to get down the field to kick a field goal for the game winner, actually. But even before that, there was a drive before that Devontae Adams got blasted, helmet-to-helmet hit that wasn't called by the referees, which was pretty controversial, by the way. After the game and during the game, they were talking about it, but I guess the referees just explained they were in the wrong position or in a position where they couldn't see what happened and they didn't really notice it. But he got hit helmet to helmet. It was down for a while on the field, went to commercial break, and they showed him going into the medical tent to get evaluated. But after, when the 32 seconds were left, we saw Devontae Adams getting back on the field to come out there to try to win the game for the Packers. And I'm like, what's going on? This man was knocked out for a good, 20 seconds on the ground, motionless, and now he's just back in the game. What happened to the concussion protocol? I guess it didn't matter when there was 32 seconds left with Aaron Rodgers losing. You know what I mean? So he goes back in the game and gets first a 15-yard chunk play maybe even be more than that. Make a 25-yard chunk play to Devontae Adams. He just gets behind the zone of the 49ers, gets right behind Fred Warner, drops right there behind him. And then the next play after that, it was another pass, little bloop right there between the defense to get Crosby in field goal range. And just like in, old timer kicker fashion, veteran kicker fashion, he knocks the kick down to beat the 49ers, to upset the 49ers 30-28. And everybody was stunned. The 49ers made this miraculous comeback, and we're leading the game. Jimmy G leads the 49ers down the field for what is said to be the game-winning drive with 32 seconds left, and they give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers. And who knew with 32 seconds left is what all it would take for, Aaron Rodgers to get in field goal range to kick a field goal. And that was a super letdown for the 49ers, who are trying to keep pace with the 3-0 Arizona Cardinals and the 3-0 Rams. The Seattle Seahawks aren't really having that, good of luck either. I think they may be 2-1 at this point, maybe 1-2. But either way, the Rams and the Cardinals are on top right now, and I think they play each other next week. So we'll see who's going to reign supreme in that division. But the division is going to be really strong, and I think it could be three wild card teams of the NFC West in the wild card for the playoffs. What else we got? Let's talk about Cowboys, Eagles, just real quick. Cowboys dismantled the Eagles, basically, the end. Next, I'm just playing. But yeah, Dak had a day, 21 of 26, damn near completed every single pass, 238 yards, 3 touchdowns. Zeke redeemed himself this game, 17 carries for 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Lord, behold, they got a tight end now. Dalton Schultz, 2 touchdowns. And he made it look nice, man. He was shifty out there. Look spry, look quick. He can be that little slot tight end, take some attention off of CD, Amari Cooper, and when Gallup does come back, who knows? Cedric Wilson made a great catch. Well, it was out of bounds, but he catching the ball, and he's good in the slot. So who knows? Gallup might get his position taken. But once, Schultz develops as that go-to tight end for Dak Prescott, who's actually looking good after coming back from that injury, man. 3 games shown now. The injury's not, he's not playing very timid. He actually had some runs. He actually got stuck a little bit in this game. So we know the ankle and the shoulder are good. Dak is playing wonderful. They, smashed them. They didn't have a chance. It was like 21-42 in favor of the Cowboys, of course. Jalen Harris went 25 of 39, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had no time in the pocket. He didn't really know what to do. He was, abandoning the pocket super fast. Couldn't really make anything happen. This is kind of his rookie season because he started midway through last season. And he's just now getting his full season's worth of starts. So he is kind of shaky and he is going to take some learning. But one thing I do know about Jalen Hurts, he's a learner, man. If he doesn't succeed this first time, the second time around, he does come back and learn and get, always strives to get better, and he does get better. And he signed to Young Money sports agency, signing Lil Wayne. So I want to see him do good as well. But yeah, Cowboys, man, 2-1, looking good, man. Probably gonna win the NFC East. People are all, talking like they're gonna win the Super Bowl now. So I know the Cowboys fans out there are happy to see their team bouncing back and doing good. So I'm happy to see it too. When the NFL has the Cowboys doing good and a lot of the good teams doing good, well, everybody hates the Buccaneers are good now, but shit happens. But yeah, it's good to see them doing good. Hopefully they can sustain it. And throughout the season, they have a pretty easy schedule. And I've looked at it a couple of times, and they showed it a couple of times, of course, on TV. So it looks doable. So hopefully, they get it done. Not win the Super Bowl, just, make the playoffs. That's a good start. Baby steps, baby steps. And lastly, let's get into this before we close out. Tampa Bay versus the Rams, man. Me personally going in, I think I talked about it on the podcast. I didn't really expect too much. I did think we're going to lose personally. I wouldn't really tell that to anybody's face. I would just be like, I don't know what's going to happen. But if any game was on our schedule, I think we were going to lose. This was one that was circled early in the season in LA, one of the first games in SoFi Stadium over in Inglewood. They're playing against the defending champs. They're eager to prove with Matthew Stafford that they're miles ahead of what they were last year. I feel it. This was a Super Bowl junior to them, the junior Super Bowl, showing the world they can beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. So I'm happy for them in that aspect, but I hope when it comes to playoff time, they're ready to see what we are towards the end of the season, and hopefully they put that work in to get to the end of the season healthy. Hope we get there healthy. Let's get into some of the stats for them. Matthew Stafford. Let's see. I think I got that on the back here. 27 of 38, 343 yards, 4 touchdowns. He pretty much was able to do what he wanted to. Our defense were missing key defensive backs. Sean Murphy-Bunting got hurt in the first quarter of the first game. Jamel Dean injured his knee in this game. So that's our 2 and 3 corner, both hurt. Our first corner is dealing with hamstring issues. He wasn't even going to play last game, but he was able to get out there and play. Luckily, we're looking at Richard Sherman. Actually came in for a visit today to see what we were talking about. Hopefully, he can bring some veteran experience to our DB core and actually help shut some stuff down in the secondary. Not even just shut it down, just be serviceable enough so our pass rush can get home. Our pass rush wasn't looking like nothing. It gave Matthew Stafford all time to throw in the back, all time in the pocket to throw. Even if he didn't have a lot of time to throw in the pocket, it'll be short dink and dunk routes that our corners weren't ready for. They would shake one of our corners and get 10 yards a pop. Desean Jackson, he had 3 catches for 120 yards. Ex-Buccaneer, man. I'm sure he was happy about serving us like that. He had 1 catch for like 70 yards, and then one, it was just like fucking super touchdown, 30-yard touchdown pass or some shit like that. He was just doing what he wanted to do. It was kind of reminiscent of how Tyreek Hill hit us for 200 yards in the first quarter last year. You know what I mean? Without our DBs being at least serviceable, we're going to get hit like that every time. It's going to cause Tom Brady to have to score hella points every game. And at his age, we don't want him to do that. Just like LeBron, not to bring LeBron into this, just like LeBron, you don't want him playing a bunch of minutes and having to score hella points and do everything on defense as well. We don't want to have Tom Brady score and try to score 50 points a game just to win a game. We don't want to have to do that. Speaking of Tom Brady, he didn't have a bad game. It's not the best. I mean, he 41 for 55, still a lot of times throwing. I don't know why we'd be throwing so much. Our running backs aren't really showing much. Leonard Fournette's not showing much. Ronald Jones, I don't know what's going on with Ronald Jones. This is the opportunity for him. Every year we give him an opportunity to start, and we tell him it's his team, it's his running back core, it's his ball, man. But he doesn't really want to, step up and show anything. I feel like Leonard Fournette right now is running with his head down. There's so many ways to bounce out on some plays, bounce to the outside, and he didn't even look at it. He just looked down, looked like he was skating the line of scrimmage, didn't want to pass the line of scrimmage. 2 and 3 yards is not what we need. We need 3.5, 4 a pop, and that's what he should be getting, both of them. The power and speed that they have, they should be getting 4 yards easy, but they don't. Basically, he passed the ball 55 times. Mike Evans, 8 catches, 106 yards. Gronk, Chris Godwin, Tyler Johnson in place of Antonio Brown this week. Had a bunch of catches, a bunch of yards scattered here and there, but it's just key plays we missed. We weren't able to keep up with the Rams scoring. Once we stopped matching their touchdowns and they got 1 touchdown ahead, it put too much work on Tom Brady to try to force the ball in there and bring us all the way back from a deficit. Like I said, our pass rush wasn't getting home. Devin White was getting confused in pass coverage. We were kind of looking like we looked early in the season last season on defense. I just think it's going to take a couple of weeks for us to get our bearings under us and actually meld as a defense and be what we once were. We had a lot of time off. Like I said, our corners and stuff are hurt. Pierre Desir is coming off our practice squad. Hopefully Sherman gets acclimated and is able to play at least by the week after this one, because I know he's probably not going to play the Patriots this week because he probably won't know the playbook by then. But disappointed, but not really disappointed, because like I said, I kind of expected the Buccaneers to kind of lose this game. I'm happy it's early. The most amount of losses I think we're going to have on our schedule is 4 at most, in my opinion. Knock on wood. I'm not going to knock on here, but I'm knocking on wood for that. The Rams are 3-0 right now. My boy Derek out there, Kenny out there too. Shout out y'all. I know y'all Rams fans. But yeah, to see what y'all got. I don't think your schedule really gets hard for a while. So stack up these games because we're coming for that 1 seed. You know what I mean? I hope the Seattle Seahawks and the Niners can do some work against y'all, like at least beat y'all once apiece. And then y'all lose to some other teams just so y'all don't get that 1 seed. I can watch y'all get knocked off by either Green Bay or the 49ers or whoever it takes to knock y'all off before y'all get to us. That's why we sit up there at the 1 seed and take the lowest seeded winner into the first round of the playoffs for us. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to highlight those games for y'all. If I was kind of all over the place, hopefully you guys were able to keep up with me there. We have a pop culture episode coming up real soon with V-Rounds. We're going to have some good stuff on the docket for you. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to show you guys a lot more stuff we have in store. Week 3 is in the books. Fantasy football. I might get on there this week to talk a little fantasy football because our league is getting down and dirty. I'm in 3rd place now. Vying for first, everybody out there is being super supportive, being active, not, just leaving their roster bare, even if they think they're not going to win. So I appreciate that y'all being real active. It's a big prize this year. Trophies on the line. We thinking of punishment for last places because that's becoming really famous right now. Seeing some punishments for last place. So a lot of stuff coming, anime, kumite, like I said, pop culture, and that double episode, 7 and 8 of What If. Go get you some Beautiful Struggle merch, beautifulstruggle.com, you know what I mean? Where you can find your boy, SAC underscore Lydell, Patrick underscore Lydell on the Snapchat, the SAC underscore Lydell is on the Instagram. Tune into those so you can get to know when we're going to drop an episode, what the episodes are going to be about. You know what I'm saying? I give you guys little hints and clues here and there, man. Stay tuned for the newest music, newest sports, newest movie reviews, newest anime, newest comic book, superhero, any of that shit, whatever you guys want to hear. I got it. It's the best of bias. Bring it here, and I got it for y'all. Before I get out of here, I got to drop where you can find the podcast. Wherever you find your favorite podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube. Go check out the YouTube videos. Guys, man, AKA does his thing on those. If you ain't seen them, there's plenty on there. Just started the channel this year, early, a couple months ago, and we got plenty of videos. We try to drop a video every week. Every time we drop a episode, audio version, we try to drop a video with it, so you guys can check out every episode out there on the YouTube under the Best of Bias podcast. You'll see our face there, and order you some hats too. I've got the logos coming. I don't know if I got one. Oh, I do got one with me right here. You know what I'm saying? We got the patches right here. You're gonna put it on the put it on some merch. It's gonna look something like that. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming soon, but Best of Bias on the Instagram, Best of Bias on the website for the latest episodes. And you already know what it is, man. You already know. Thank you guys for coming to listen about, to get reviewed up on some football. Week 4 reviews, we'll bring that. Maybe I'll have a guest next week to go over with me so I'm not rambling by myself, but we'll get some people on. It's the Best of Bias podcast. And where's my theme song? Where is that? It's right here.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. Your best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias.
You are now